right sides together. Remember, I showed you all this. I had the right sides together, and I saw the whole facing on at the neck, and all down the front, and at the bottom.
Half inch?
Yes. Okay, and then I made sure that I didn't have any weird things twisted the wrong way. And then I pressed these long seams open because I keep telling you how much easier it is to turn everything when the long seams are pressed open. So now it all gets turned. It all gets turned. Now there's one really important thing that you need to do, and I'm glad I did this right here because otherwise I would have forgotten to tell you about it. I'll fool around with that point in a minute, and this point. Well, let me get this point's already out, so that's good. Oh, I trimmed the seams. So, see, I graded them this time, which means the facing, which is the shorter seam that's going to be closer to the body, is shorter. Do you see that? They're layered. The term is graded. That way you don't have a ridge of things that are all the end at the same spot. So, and you want to have the layer on the outside of the body be the longest. Imagine if this was a sheer garment, you would only want to see the outside layer and not the under layers. Because sometimes you have multiple layers that you're dealing with. Okay, so I will fiddle around with this one in a minute too. What's really important at this point, I can't tell you how important it is. Before you go forth and finish this, you want to make sure that both of these center fronts are the same length. You don't want one of your center fronts hanging down longer than the other one. If they're not the same length, then go back and open them up at the bottom and make the adjustment.
Wait, center front.
You want to make sure that, here I'll show you. I'll fix this in a minute. You want to make sure that the front of your shirts, that the way you sewed it, everything is ending up to be the same length. I'm going to press this, and in other words, when you are wearing this shirt and you have it buttoned and closed, you don't want one side of the front hanging down lower than the other side. Kind of like when you're putting in your zipper, you want to make sure that when you put your waistband on, it ends at the same level.
So it's like we're not going to actually, we don't really hem at the end. We're already hemming as we go along by doing attaching the...
No, the rest of it isn't hemmed yet.
But we need to kind of know our length.
Yes, you do.
Whatever that's
Yes, you
called.
do.
Yeah.
The facing is part of the first part of the hem.
Okay.
And I'm going to go back and work on this and press it nicely and poke those corners out. But it's really, really important to make sure that the fronts are the same length. Because when you're, stand up, Ray, so they can look at your shirt. See your shirt is buttoned? And how silly, overlap the bottom. Think how silly it would look if one side of that, one side is longer than the other. It is.
This needs to be ironed.
It is longer than the other. No, one side's longer than the other.
Where's your shirt from?
But you guys would get marked down if you do that. Okay, you guys would get marked down if you did that, okay? You want to make sure that both sides are the same, all right? Really important. So now the next step is called understitching. And what that means, and I think this is probably going to be a little confusing, you have a lot of layers up here. A lot of layers up here where the collar was attached and the facing was attached. So you've got the facing, you've got the garment, and you've got 2 layers of collar, and then you've also got an inner facing, so you've got a whole bunch of stuff. And you want to anchor this, you want to stitch all this whole seam allowance. All this, you want to stitch to the back of the garment so it stays put, okay? So what you want to do your trimming, do your clipping if you need to, and you want to feel that all of this is going toward the facing. Okay, so do you all understand what I'm trying to show you?
What do you mean?
You got the long side towards, no you don't.
Okay, you don't want any stitches showing on the outside of the garment.
Yeah.
But you want to control, look at all this mess. This is a big old mess under here. Look at all that crap. You want to make sure that it's anchored down and isn't going to move around. It's going to lie nice and flat. You kind of want to control it. So you want to anchor it all to the back side, which happens to be the facing. You don't want to stitch it to the front side.
Right.
Honestly, it wouldn't show because the collar is going to be down, but that's just not proper construction, and it would show over here. So what you want to do is stitch it. You want to stitch all of this to this facing side. So what you're going to do from the top is, the top of the garment. I think what I'll do is I'll just do half of it, and then that way you guys can open this up and look at it. So you're gonna start here, and I'm gonna start kind of right where the collar is. I think that's good enough.
Do you start at the top middle and do each side, or do you go?
You should, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna start at one end and go to the other. Because I don't like feeding all the stuff through the machine. All the fabric would be on the machine if I did it. So here I go. It's all sewn together already. I'm just now anchoring all the seam allowances.
So in
in.
your case, in this case, you don't. You're not just.
No, you don't really.
saving
You don't
time,
really
but
need
in
to
this situation,
when
it's
you're
already.
right. It's already stitched to the garment.
Okay.
So here I go, and you want to do this really closely, real close. I'm just gonna do.
You usually try to line up with the with this stitch of the collar, right at the top. You try to line up with that guy on the inside. with
Yeah,
the
pretty much.
facing?
I mean, supposedly you want to go as close to the edge of the garment as you can get, but that's pretty close. And I really just want to, that's where all the seam allowances start getting thick because you've got the collar seam allowance in there. So you just want to anchor all those so that they stay in place. So I'm going to do that right now. Back stitch. Okay. And you need to make sure, put your hands underneath the collar, make sure that nothing is wadded up as it goes to the needle. I'm just going to go to the center back, and then understitching is done on a lot of garments, on almost all garments in some areas. It's not just, oh, that's not stitched down. No, it's gonna be stitched down now.
And understitching meaning like hidden behind some.
Right,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just gonna finish this little part, this little half part. Okay, I just did half of it, but I want to show you how nice this is. Okay, so you just hold everything in place. I'll pass it around and you can look at it, but everything now is stitched down to the seam allowance. It feels better. I'll pass it around so you can look at it. And then I'm going to show you the loop one more time.